Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Kat, and we're on Snooze.
Let's get cozy.
Let's get cozy.
What she said.
Okay, today's episode is all about coming out of the closet, meaning she's gay, I'm gay,
We're in bed together.
we're gay. But every coming out story has its journey. And we're about to dive into both of ours.
Yeah. My closet had many more clothes I had to get through to get to the door. Hers had like one shirt barely hanging on. She walked right through that door.
Plus wire hangers. Rhea's were velvet and wood. Metal.
Yeah, those bitches would not move out of the way for me. So, tell us about your coming out story. Actually, wait, before you tell the story,
Okay.
when did you know you liked girls?
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I wouldn't say there was I went to a Catholic school. So, I didn't even know what gay was until I was like,
Oh my god, you were like the Catholic schoolgirl pipeline to like gay.
yeah.
I know too many people like that.
Yeah, please never bring that up again. I actually decided in this moment I'm no longer gay. Just kidding. Yeah, well, yes. So I went to a Catholic school, had no idea I knew what being gay was, but I didn't know, I never met a gay person in my life. So, why are you laughing?
You knew me for 10 years. Surprise, Sade.
Yeah, now I'm best friends with a gay person. Really weird how that happened. But in high school, our school was very open. Yeah, so all these conversations about sexuality and gender identity were very open and fluid conversations, which this was my first dose of it. So then throughout my life, really, my adult life, I was thinking about the type of partner I wanted, which is something we talked about in
A few episodes ago.
yeah, and so then this idea oh, to get the partner of my dreams, to have that only be limited to
One
men,
gender, yeah.
one gender, just felt like I don't want to say dumb, but just wasn't for me.
Impossible.
Yeah, I was just you know what? I don't necessarily have I only want to date men. And so then yeah, I think it just came to me this way that I just didn't really care about how somebody identified.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm dating a woman.
Yay.
Because women just do it better. Cut that, please. What about you? When did you know, Rhea?
I knew when I was a wee child.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Whoa. I don't think I've ever actually heard this story. I don't think we've ever actually talked about this.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, when you know, I knew. I just, could not, be okay with that.
With what? With what?
With being gay.
Oh, I thought you meant, being with men.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah, I came out at 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I knew since I was a kid. I'd watch movies and I'd pay more attention to the girl and I'd be like, oh my god, why is that?
Yeah, I always thought that was normal though.
It is for gays.
The girl in blue crush.
Dude, had the same fucking
really
awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
Zoe Kravitz from High Fidelity.
Oh, hi. Yes.
That was it.
Zoe Kravitz.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I knew from movies, I'd always watch the girls and have all the girl crushes, but be like, no, no.
That's weird.
Yeah. But I never had any girl crushes of people that I actually knew. It was just I knew I had feelings towards girls, but yeah. Anyway, I basically knew since I was a wee child.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you came out at 21.
Yes.
How did that? What was the events that were you comfortable coming out? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I came out a little bit after you ended up coming out. And when you came out,
Coincidence?
well, none of my like really close friends at that point were in the queer community. Obviously we went to, like you said, an open high school, so like everyone who was gay was out and proud and welcomed, blah blah blah. But when you had come out, I remember I was like, oh my god, like thank God, like what my best friend is also queer, like I feel comfortable to like tell her. So you were the first person I had come out to. But yeah, you had come out sort of casually to me, and I just remember like feeling really like safe at that moment. Because you had just like said it. It wasn't like you were telling me that you were queer. It was very much just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm queer, blah, 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 blah. But like that stuck out to me. So then I remember like you finished whatever you're talking about. And then I was like, I have a big secret. And then I told you.
Oh. You know what's funny is I don't even remember you telling me it like that.
What's your remembering?
I just remember you calling me the day that you came out to you, like everybody else.
Oh.
But I do vaguely remember this, but I guess it just speaks more over to this. Like I think
How casual. Yeah,
yeah, I'm like it was out and then it was
yeah.
a past.
Yeah, because when I came out to my parents, it was almost a year after I started coming out to my friends, because I came out to you, and then I came out to one of my other friends that I was super close with, and then just like sat on it. It was like our big dirty little secret.
Okay.
And then fast forward, didn't do shit about it, but I was like started to tell people, blah blah blah. Then one night, me and my dad, we went to dinner together. Got super drunk together. So fucking drunk.
Was this at the
It was at Outback Steakhouse.
I was gonna say Islands,
No,
but it was
close.
Outback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was at Outback Steakhouse. And yeah, me and my dad basically got trashed at this restaurant.
Nice.
And drunkenly, me and my dad, we were like really close during that time period for like the last few years. So I don't know. I got drunk, a little too confident, and I just like spilled the beans. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, like, I like boys and girls." And he was like,
Oh, you didn't even just say like I like girls. You said boys and girls.
"Yeah,
Oh.
yeah." So I was like, "I like boys and girls," and the table went dead silent.
Everybody was sober after
Yeah,
that.
like I've never seen a man go from obliterated to stone cold sober. He pays the bill. I'm like bawling my eyes out because like he hasn't said a single word to me.
In this Outback,
In this Outback, I'm like bawling.
you didn't even wait to get to the car.
I literally could not. I was wasted, bro. Like I was drunk as fuck. So I'm like bawling my eyes out at this fucking Outback at the bar, of course.
Oh my god. It's
Luckily-
like not funny, but
No.
I'm just like imagining it in my head.
No, luckily I don't remember too much at the restaurant because like trauma blocked it and was so drunk.
Slay.
So yeah, don't remember much. All I remember is like I like called my mom while my dad was paying. So I called my mom, I'm like sobbing. She was like, "What's wrong? Like, is everything okay?" Because she doesn't know what just happened. She just hears me crying.
Which is a rarity for
Yeah.
Rhea.
So I'm like fucking sobbing, and I'm like, I just told Dad I like boys and girls, and like.
Wait, did your mom know before this?
So this is also the first time my mom finds out.
Oh god, Jesus.
So yeah, so my mom is like, "Oh, thank God, like nothing's wrong," because like she thought like I was dying or something. And then she's like, "Who cares?" She's like, "Who cares? Just come home and we'll talk about it. Like it's fine. Stop crying. You're okay." And I was like, "Okay." Like Dad hasn't said anything. She's like, "Just come home, we'll talk about it." So my dad drives us home. Don't remember anything about that drive. Don't remember saying anything during that drive.
Probably no words.
No words. Dead silence. Like, not even the fucking radio. We get to my house, and my dad, like, walks away. He, like, goes to his room or something. And my mom and sister are, like, waiting in the living room, like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like sobbing. They like hug me and they're like, "Oh my God, it's okay. Like, who cares? Like, we accept you." Blah 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 blah. It was also my sister's first time hearing this information. I
Oh,
think
your sister didn't even know.
no one knew. So like all of a sudden, boom, everyone in my fucking house knew, except my grandma. That was like another fucking panic that I had to go through. But yeah, so my mom and sister were super accepting. Like they comforted me. They were like, "It's okay." Yeah. So that was like that initial event. But shortly after I was telling my mom and sister, like I was texting one of our other friends and I was like, I just did this. And she picks me up and we go to a bar and I continue drinking, which I like definitely did not need another drink for. But then I go and like I start sobbing in a different fucking bar. And then she takes me home and then like I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh my God, last night happened. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm so fucking embarrassed. Like, I cried. I came out. Oh my God.
All in one night.
Yeah. So the next morning, so fucking awkward. Everyone is like waiting for me to come out of my bedroom. Like, you could cut the tension with a fucking,
And
with the
just
back of
for
your
the
elbow.
well, just for the like audience understanding, because I can visualize
Yeah.
this in my head. Rhea's like living room is very open. So as soon as you come out of the hallway where the bedrooms are, like you
You're
see
there.
you're in the but the couch kind of used, so you're in the
Like
center of the couch
and you're
area.
like facing the fucking hallway that people are exiting from.
Exactly. So in Rhea's mom every morning has her little robe and her little cup of whatever she's drinking. And so I can just imagine all of them like waiting out there for
Yeah.
you. I love that.
Yeah. So my mom's like waiting there to like jump in and have this like conversation that I'm fucking dreading because I know this woman's gonna have questions. She's gonna want answers. She's gonna need this, that, everything. And I was like, I just wanted to say it and like forget that that night happened because like I didn't want it to be deeper than it had to. And I went from it being like my family knew nothing about me to suddenly like they knew my sexuality, like which was wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was like super stressful coming out of that room and I don't remember much about what happened in that living room after, but of course my mom for sure had like a gajillion questions and things that she needed to know and of course my sister would jump in right after and be like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Yeah, so fast forward like a day or two later, still have not spoken to my dad at all. And there's this one day, I think we had gone to the club, me and you.
Oh, yeah, wait, before you tell the story, did you, like, if you could think back, would you have told them separately or would you have done it, like, all together, like, at one go?
I don't think I could have. I think the way I did it needed to happen. I don't
Yeah,
think I
I
could
think for
do it
your own,
differently.
yeah,
I don't think I could sit everybody down and be like, listen, I'm gay.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think the way that it happened needed to happen because I think otherwise I just couldn't do it.
Did, right, because your mom, we talked about this in the last episode, your mom is very boom, boom, boom
Yeah.
with questions. Was that even that idea, like, overwhelming for you?
Yeah, because like I didn't want to have to answer like the nitty-gritty details. I would like, I was afraid that she was going to start asking like even more personal questions and stuff like that. And me and
Yeah.
my mom didn't have that relationship where I could be like tell her these things. So to suddenly have her be able to kind of have a new like world to kind of question
Yeah.
was super intense.
Okay, I see.
And like I growing up I was a fucking tomboy and like clearly a little gay. So my mom like throughout my childhood like she had asked me multiple times, she's like, are you gay, like do you like girls, like blah blah blah, and I would always like deny deny deny. And yeah, so she was like with it, but I
Yeah.
knew this woman like had years of pent up questions
Oh,
and
I see what you're
comments like
saying.
to bring to the table.
Yeah, yeah. So when you guys are like when you come out of your right, not when you come out, but like when you're waking up and
Yeah,
coming
coming to
into
the
the
living
living room, is your dad there or he's not?
No, he's like nowhere to be found. I think I don't think he had a job at that time, so I don't know where this man hid, but he was not out in the living room.
Yikes.
He was like nowhere to be found. And it was like pandemic time. Like it was August of the pandemic.
Oh, so you guys were just like stuck in the house together?
Yeah, like we were
Oh,
stuck. Like yet places were starting to open up and that's how we went to like the restaurant, but it was like still pretty strict COVID rules.
I see.
So no one had anywhere to fucking go. Like my worst fucking nightmare.
I
Like
for like I know, I obviously was
yeah.
like in the background, like we're, you're obviously telling me as this is happening, but hearing it back, I forget that we were like so very in the time,
Yeah.
in the pandemic time.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck.
Um
Which is also such a different experience, I think, for me. So like I, even this, as you're telling me this, I'd have no.
Yeah, because this was at this point it was 2021, August of 2021 when I came out to them, and I had came out to you December of 2020.
Yeah, and I think
Oh my
even,
God, it was Christmas Day because we remember we would always spend Christmas together, no matter even if it was for like 5 minutes.
oh my gosh, yeah, and we tried those pure white claws.
Yeah,
I do
yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah.
this.
It was
Not me remembering that, but not remembering that conversation.
it was Christmas Day that I had come out to you, and then the following year, 2021, August, came out to my family.
Yeah, which I think this just, even for our friendship and like the conversations around this, I in no way understand like what you're feeling at this point. Even when you had called me that day, I did not understand that feeling, and I still don't. But it was so like heartbreaking to see you like, cause I've only seen Rhea cry like once, twice before this, and so to hear her like on the phone, like crying, and no, also could hear she was in a bar, so
Oh
like,
yeah, because I called you from the bar
yeah, and you were
too.
drunk,
Yeah.
and so that to like see her in that state, even in, which is so far out of character, I rem I just remember feeling like so helpless in trying to help you.
I don't think anybody knew what to do because
Yeah,
I was with a straight friend that night. So she was like there to just like comfort me because, that's what friends
and
are for.
yeah, I think that's all we could really do.
Yeah, I was just like be there. And I didn't even know what I needed. But answering the phone definitely helped. Picking me up to take me out definitely helped.
The liquor definitely helped.
Yeah, a little bit of all of that. Just like really touches my heart.
So where do you guys go after this?
So for the next few days, it's like just super awkward in my house. My mom is trying to like ask me questions. She's concerned, confused, all of it. And my dad is MIA. This man is like nowhere to be seen. And if you do see him, like no words are exchanged. So that home atmosphere is at peak uncomfortableness.
Awkward.
Yeah, like so fucking awkward. But then the weekend comes around and you were like, let's go to the club. So you take me to the gay club for the first time. I
Okay.
had never been before because we turned 21 during the pandemic, so we weren't really going to bars and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So you were like, oh, me and a friend are going to the club. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, fuck yeah, like, let me see what this is all about. And
We also hadn't been clubbing to like we hadn't been legally out drinking together
yeah,
yet.
because like it was like we literally could not.
Yeah.
But this is again when places were opening up and things were kind of shifting. I remember wearing a mask
The
at
whole
the
time.
club.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that too.
So yeah, so we go to the club and anyway, people like were super nice to me and there was this one like compliment that I got from this one person and he had like complimented like my nose.
Thank you, rhinoplasty.
Yes. And I was like, I was over the moon because, I had just gotten a nose job. So hearing a compliment about my nose after, like, me hating my nose forever, like, was really good. So whatever. The night ends, great night. And, like, the next morning, again, me and my dad were best friends before I came out to him. So I was like, oh, I got this compliment from this guy yesterday, like, about my nose, blah, 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 blah.
You're talking to your dad about this, or?
Yeah, my dad. Because I'm trying, like, I don't know what's going on yet with him. I just know that it's fucking awkward. So I'm trying to, like, make conversation about something that has nothing to do about being gay.
Like you're gauging.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gauging to see where he's at.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, this guy, like, complimented my nose yesterday. And, like, and he had been drinking, my dad. So the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, oh, and I remember, like, just staring and being like, and again, I'm trying to mediate the situation and being like, oh, like, no, like,
You did not laugh. Did you laugh?
I think I just was like,
Like,
like speechless, like, gasp.
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, no, like, something else. Like, I tried to switch the conversation.
Deflect.
Yeah, deflect it to something else. And then, I was building shit in my bedroom at the time, so I had taken his toolbox. And he goes, oh, I'm missing a screwdriver. Where is it? And I'm like, oh, it's in my room. Like, let me go get it. And I bring it back out to him, and he goes to say something, like, super misogynistic.
So-
And, like, I had never heard my dad speak like this, and especially to me, his kid.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, handing that back to him and, like, never saying a word to him again. And for another 9 months, we lived under the same roof. We didn't make eye contact. We didn't, like, exchange 2 words.
Yeah.
Everything that, like, needed to be done was through my mom. Then I moved out and was, like, happier than ever. I was out of that house where I literally couldn't come out of my room without being uncomfortable, to now having my whole space to myself and being able to bring whoever I want and do whatever I want without, like, being watched. And yeah, so since then, my relationship with my dad since coming out hasn't changed much. Now we do exchange a few words, and, like, mostly through text, though, in, like, the family group chat. But there's no, like, real conversations going on. It's very superficial, and my mom, like, she hated the idea that me and my dad weren't speaking, and at first she could not believe what he had said to me. She, like,
Was she there?
no, she wasn't. It was just me and him. So I told her what he said to me that time, and she was like, there's no way your dad said that. You misheard it. And I'm like, no, like, I'm pretty sure those were his exact words.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just could not believe that my dad said something like that to me, and she went a while believing that. So she worked really hard to try to get me and my dad talking again, but it just did not happen. And
Yeah.
my dad wouldn't make the first move, so she would make me, like, talk to him and do things like that. And I was like, I don't think it's my place to try and comfort him. Like, I don't think what you're trying to do is it.
Yeah.
So after a while, she just, like, would give up, and then it would, like, re-come back, and it would, like, devastate her that me and my dad weren't talking because, like, again, me and him were, like, really good friends. So, yeah, so she put a lot of the pressure on me to kind of mend the relationship with my dad. But after moving out and starting to just, like, be happy with myself and, like, the people that I had around me, I realized that I really didn't need to have him in my life. I was like, why am I trying to keep a relationship with my dad who clearly has an issue with who I am?
Yeah.
Like, you can either be a part of my life and be happy with me, or you can not be a part of my life and know nothing about me. I had passed the point of being, like, hurt and upset about it to just being like, honestly, either you're with it or you're not. I'm going to continue doing what makes me happy.
Which is I think, well, this is one of the reasons why we didn't bring it up in the last episode, is the dynamic shift is over the course of less than a year.
Yeah.
You guys are going out to Outback together, which I don't know if we said it in the last episode, but Rhea and her dad used to play soccer, or they're both into soccer, and so that's how a lot of the bonding happened. So I remember you guys would always do like go out to play soccer,
And then we would
and
go.
then yeah, go eat at like I said islands earlier
Yeah,
because it was
it
either
was.
islands or Outback.
Yeah, it was my dad's favorite spots.
So like that dynamic change between like one of your parents, because like you said your mom's an LA slay, but like how does that, I know you talked about like the pressure that your mom put on you to like have those
Yeah.
conversations, but like after that initial comment, how does that like what was the change for you where you were kind of like, okay, yeah, not only do you know where he stands, but like how was it to like mourn that old dynamic?
I mean, I was like super hurt and upset about it for a long time, and then as I started to like embrace myself more and like actually realize that this is who I want to be, that my shift changed completely. I was like, I know you're my dad. I know that we're supposed to like have a relationship, but if you don't like me, I'm not going to try and like change your mind on that. Like
Yeah.
you're either going to see your kid happy without you or you can be a part of that happiness. And if you choose to stand on the sidelines, then that sucks for you, not
Yeah.
me.
And what about your mom? I know your mom is a right because you said earlier your mom is like has always asked,
Yeah.
but like when did those questions kind of like stop, and when did she become more of like a
I think her questions still kind of come up every now and then. I never like, sat down with her and was like, okay, here, okay, here, okay, here.
yeah, like went down the checklist? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every now and then, she still pops a question, whatever, and it's still kind of awkward because
As moms do. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I really don't want to be talking to you about this.
She's like, so what does it feel like to kiss another woman?
Quite literally,
What
no.
happens in your heart when you kiss another woman?
Yeah, yeah. But at first it was kind of hard because I knew I had to like answer some of these questions for her to kind of understand. Yeah, but the questions still haven't gone away. Like my even when I had gotten my girlfriend and I had introduced them to my mom,
It's a whole new set of questions.
a whole new fucking set of questions. And then yeah, my mom was like, "Oh my God, like Rhea, this is your first relationship," and I was like, "Well, like kinda not really." And I remember her like being completely shocked. She was like, "What do you mean?" Like that goes how deep. Like
Um,
my mom has no relationship with me previously. Like she had no idea about anything going on in my life.
well, like obviously I would say like this this gave your mom an opportunity to like step up
Yeah.
in terms of like obviously having to see this like relationship breakdown. But do you feel like like this whole event, right? Obviously, not a good event, but like, do you think this whole event has like led you to be like closer to them in this, like, oh, closer to your mom in this way?
Yeah, I think at first no. Just because of how she reacted to my dad's comment and kind of she showed her alliance in a way where she accepted me but also could not comprehend that my dad was not accepting of me. She would
I
always
see.
like find an excuse for him. It was just the way he was raised. It's just this, it's just that, like give him a break. And I'm like, well no, like if you think about it, you're 10 years older than him. You lived like longer in this like super strict traditional country, but yet you're the one who's most accepting and he's
Yeah.
like the one who's like a century behind us. Like
Yeah.
I that's none of that is valid. So for a long time like I resented my mom too for how her reaction was.
Yeah.
But then, time passed and I became happier, much happier. I lived on my own, was doing completely me.
Which must have been so, I mean, I remember we would talk about it, and I would like tell my mom about it. I overshare with my mom, but I would like tell my mom about it, and my mom would be like, she needs to get out of that house. Like it's not good for her to. But we're in the pandemic. Like,
Right, like there was
there is no
literally
choice. Yeah, and so I do remember that like period of time where you were just like creeping
Yeah.
around in the house.
Yeah. I tried to be outside of the house as much as possible, and with all the fucking COVID guidelines, that was nearly impossible, but I'd be like, I'm gonna go for a drive, or like, I'm gonna go sit 6 feet apart from Kat on her fucking driveway instead of sitting in my room, like, afraid to come outside.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from like the moment I'd wake up to like, my parents luckily went to bed pretty early, so until like 9 or 10 at night, I would then come home.
An owl, if you would.
Yeah. And then do the same thing every single day until one school started again, which helped a lot. Like, that got me out of the house. And even if I didn't have class that day, my ass would be on campus. Hated campus, but would be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was it like bringing your first partner around? I think this is also obviously the situation of being out is
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
But I think even moving forward in that,
Yeah, it's different. It's like, yeah, I know my daughter's gay, but like, oh, now like there's a girlfriend.
they're gay. Yeah.
Like she's really gay.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something like I can just kind of like put in the back burner. Like, it's here.
Yeah, and I think that this is one right, Rhea recalls this conversation that we had, but the same time I started dating Victoria was the same time I came out to my mom.
Yeah.
Like, that conversation was the exact same conversation.
Yeah.
And so for me, I remember walking into my mom's room and I was like, right, mind you, I have been missing for like 2 weeks. Like, so
U-Haul lesbian
yeah,
right here.
I already had a toothbrush in my own side of the closet. So I like go to my mom, and mind you, she'd be texting me like, "Where are you?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm at my friend's house." Like, because we hadn't had that conversation.
Right.
So I finally like come home, and I don't even formally tell my stepdad. Like, my mom's sitting on her bed and she's watching her YouTube shows. And she's sitting there on her edge and she has her little readers on and she's crocheting. And I sit at her feet and I go, "So, like," and I'm like stalling. I don't know why I'm getting nervous.
Right.
It could also be that this is after this whole encounter with your parents.
No, you told your mom before me.
Was it? No, when I told my mom right when I was dating Victoria.
Oh. Yeah, but you came out Christmas to me, and you started dating Victoria in November.
No, that was like 2 years
year
after.
prior? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you came out and you started dating in 21?
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So
So yeah, then it was a while back.
yeah, but I had just never how casually I brought it up to Rhea was like I just never had that conversation with I didn't tell my mom like, "Oh, like I think that I'm also into boys and girls and this and that." Like, I didn't have that conversation. Like, I just like it was what it was. So then when I'm now gone for 2 weeks, I'm sitting there with my mom. And my mom always knows when I like want to talk to her about something. And
No, it's like a motherly instinct.
yeah, but she gets irritated. So like I'm interrupting her show and she's like, "What? Like, spit it out. Like, what do you want? I'm in the middle of watching my show." And I go, "Oh, like, so I've been like seeing this girl that I met at work." And she goes, "Okay." And like, mind you, she's looking at me like through the top of her like little readers. And I go, "Yeah, so like her name's Victoria and this, that." And she goes, "Okay." And I was like, "Okay, like that's it? Like, you don't want to like have a conversation?" I'm like expecting the question.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What do you want from me? A play-by-play? How to be with a woman?" And I was like, "Ew, no." And she goes, "Okay." And I was like, "Okay, well, I was just gonna grab some things and go." And she goes, "Okay, bye." And like that was it. Like, there was no other conversation after that. And then of course my mom tells my stepdad. So like the next time I come to grab clothes, he's like, "So
you're one of us."
yeah, no. He's like, "So you're going to your friend's house?" And I was just like, yeah. And he goes, "Okay, be careful." And then that was it.
Don't get pregnant.
No, that's literally like how it felt. So for you, it's like, then obviously, then it was around Christmas. So then I brought Victoria to Christmas,
Yeah.
and then my grandparents found out at Christmas. But like the same energy. It was like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
I was
like
gonna say, yeah.
I was really afraid to tell my grandparents. Like, my mom was like, "Oh, invite Victoria to Christmas," and I was like, I don't know, like, what if my grandparents are like older,
Yeah.
and they were raised Catholic, so I'm like, oh my god, like, what if they hate me now, and
Yeah.
like we're already so close. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, who cares? Like, they're they're already old anyway. They're not gonna care. And so then I brought Victoria to meet, like, to Christmas. I introduced her to my uncle and my aunt, and then my grandparents. And I think my grandpa's like, I go, oh, this is my girlfriend. And he goes, oh, cool. Like, thinking I mean, like, girlfriend.
Yeah.
And
It's like, okay, and?
yeah.
What's up, Shawty?
Yeah, and then my mom is like, yeah, like, oh, we're like holding hands, and then he says something like, oh, you mean like Victoria's like your boyfriend, girlfriend?
Oh my god.
And I was like, yeah, like, we're all sitting there, like, we're opening up gifts, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, oh, okay, all right, well, nice to see you, Veronica. And like, well, that's like the end of it. So like, a very casual kind of experience, but when I'm coming out to my family is also when I have my first girlfriend. Like, that's when
Yeah.
we're meeting two and two together.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was different. I have a lot of like family friends here in San Diego, so because I have no actual like blood relatives in the United States, my parents gathered a lot of other Greek folk from the church when they first moved here to kind of have a sense of family and community.
Okay.
So I have a huge like extended family essentially of people my parents befriended over the years, all super Greek, super traditional, and super religious. So shortly after I came out, like a few months later, my mom is like getting stressed out. She's like, you need to start telling people you're gay. Like, you need, like, I can't keep this secret. And I'm like,
You okay?
I remember
It's so
like,
hard for you. I'm so sorry.
I remember looking at her and I was like, you are lying to me right now. It's hard for you to keep this secret. Yeah, Mila, can you believe that? So yeah, so she goes like, I can't keep this secret. Like, you need to tell everybody, like, you're a gay.
You're
And-
a gay.
Yeah, you're a gay. And I was like shitting bricks because I'm like, yeah, my like parents are one thing, but all these like other people, like, again, nobody knows anything about me, and suddenly everyone's gonna be in my business about like knowing I like women. So I'm like, no fucking way you're telling me that it's hard for you to keep this secret. So she basically takes it upon herself to come out on my behalf to people.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So she's like slowly like telling people and like this and that. And for the most part, all my mom's friends are super like with it. Allies. But again, like, everybody saw me growing up. Like, this wasn't like shocking information to them, but it was like, oh, it's like out. Like,
Now
it's
we know.
now we know.
Yeah.
Like, super gossipy, like completely that vibe. But then it was my godparents that I was super worried about at the time, because my godmother is like a woman of God. She
Hence, godmother.
right. So whatever. So when I like finally had a girlfriend, I had brought them to their house for like a dinner or something, and
Just you guys?
no, with my parents and everybody else.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
started, so I would bring my partner with me to these family events, because it was important for me to like every kid in like the family friend group would bring their partners, and it was
Of course.
usually men, or it was all straight couples. So I was like the first queer person there. But I'm like, you're either gonna love me or you're gonna hate me. So I would bring my girlfriend at the time, and my godmother, she would always say to me, oh, is your friend coming with you?
I see.
Is your friend, how is your friend? Stuff like that. And even just saying that, like, I had just deeply appreciated it.
In comparison to, like,
Yeah.
another reaction.
Right. But yeah, and also I hadn't come out to my grandma yet, which was huge for me. So my grandma, over the years, I would always, me and my sister, we would like bug my grandma and like ask her like outlandish questions. One of them being like, what do you think about gay people? And whenever my sister would ask that, I'd kind of like put my hearing aid all the way up to kind of like hear what she has to
Listening
say.
ears are activated.
Exactly. And it would never be something good. My grandma would, like, my grandma's 91. Like,
She's in the centuries, babe.
yeah, like, her way of thinking is so far outdated. So for years, I would just constantly hear this, like, narrative that she has about gay people. And she prays before bed. Like, she is religious. Like, whatever.
She is going to heaven.
Yeah. So my mom was like, I need to tell your grandma. And I'm like, no. I'm like, why would you do that? I'm like, if this woman dies, like, hating me, this is, like, the end of my world.
Yeah, I can see that.
So my mom, of course, just goes ahead and, like, tells her.
Without you or with you?
Without me.
Oh my god.
So she tells I'm telling you, my mom couldn't keep this secret for not even 6 months.
This is like making your mom's hair turn gray.
No, literally, this woman, like, she was like fucking huffing and puffing that she could not keep this a secret. And she was like, I can't. It's a huge secret. I just cannot. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. So she tells my grandma, and my grandma, surprisingly, with it. Like, I don't know if she
Really?
forgot about, like, all the homophobic stuff she said in the past, but suddenly out of the window, she pulled me aside one day and was just like, I don't care who you love and what you like or don't like. You're my granddaughter above everything, and I love you.
This is why we stand. This is why we stand. Yeah.
Yeah, so my grandma's reaction was completely out of this world. I could have never, like, have guessed that. But, and then she had met my then girlfriend and really liked them.
The only one.
Yeah, my grandma likes everyone.
That's 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, so my grandma was the only one who likes my ex. But interestingly enough, my grandma has already forgotten my ex. Like, after we broke up and my grandma stopped seeing them around, never once has their name been mentioned.
You know what? But you know who she does remember?
You.
And she asks frequently.
Every time I see my grandma, how's Kat? How's Kat?
And when we, right, just a little side tidbit. Anytime we would FaceTime during the pandemic, because obviously she's older, and so we would never want to put Yaya's health in jeopardy. So I would never see her. But she once saw me on FaceTime, and she was like, oh my gosh, your hair looks so pretty.
Yeah.
I was like, stop it, girl. Like, let's go out to the gay bar.
If she could, she would.
No, I believe it. With the walker and the doorbell and everything.
Yeah. So yeah, like, it was weird. Everyone kind of had a different reaction, but all in all that matters now is that I'm happy, you're happy, we're living the dream.
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear because obviously I know about
Each little event, but
Yeah.
not like a cohesive story.
I've never heard that one about your grandma.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was my grandma's reaction.
I love that.
Yeah,
You know, you have one bad apple and you get one really good apple. So
exactly.
they are not related, by the way.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, how are the relationships now? Do you feel like the next partner you bring around, it'll be like,
Yeah, I don't think I'll be bringing home anybody for a long time until I know we're solid.
it could be Rhea's single and ready to mingle? Drop applications in the comments below.
Yeah. But no, now everybody's like back to normal. I don't think it's anybody's like first thought that like that's Ray and she's gay.
That's my first thought.
Perfect. That's actually how I want it. Yeah. So no relationships really changed. All my whole family still loves me, accepts me. My dad, he's getting kind of better this last year.
Emphasis on the kinda.
Yeah, we're like still not really talking, but he helps me out with things that I need help on through the family group chat. So I send a question and he answers, but that's like it. Still in person, we don't really talk.
No, so like we're making progress.
Yeah, no. So that's a win.
A dub is a dub.
I'll take what I can get. Yeah. So everything now has turned out for the better.
I would say your mental health is also in a better state for sure.
Yeah, I'm doing everything I want to do. I'm being with the people that I want to be with. I'm living with no fears or no regrets and stuff like that. So that was my coming out story.
And mine too. Obviously mine is a a little shorter than Rhea's. But nonetheless, I think a really big part of our friendship for sure, like this experience for us, although it's very different, I think started this bigger conversation about mental health and really wanting to harness the life that we wanted
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves to be happy in the pursuit of that. I think even I had kind of hinted at it earlier that those 9 months where you're living there and we're in the pandemic is just, it's, I'm sure, mentally brutal to have to do it day in, day out.
Yeah.
But in the next episode, we're really going to get into it. I think we have very different journeys as far as how
Mental.
we've gotten to our mental health. But I think from this coming out point is just like the first step to really getting us to who we want to be.
Yeah,
To be
absolutely.
here in this bed.
Together, after the camera's off, under the covers.
Not true. Don't start that rumor.
Maybe true.
I'm Kat,
And I'm Rhea.
and this was Snooze.
Good
Good night.